Have you ever looked back at your life and realized that you're not who you want to be anymore? Like your life is completely different from what you imagined it. You still go to work, you still show up for the people that you need to, you take care of others, but somehow along the way, you've lost who you are, a connection with yourself. And the scariest part about it is that you don't know when it happened or how it happened. It's just one day you woke up and you realize that you're not you. Today I'm going to show you how that happened, in that how most people don't even realize that it's happening when it is happening. So let's dive right into it. My son, I'm going to start with the story, a personal experience I'm actually going through now. My son is 15 years old, and I want the best for this kid. And I believe that all of the experiences that I've had in life can be useful for him. And so I want to show him how to live life and navigate some of the challenges that he's going to be facing pretty soon, and also build his character, work ethic, and help him be integral as far as the relationships that he has. And these are the results that I want to produce. Now, there's been a lot of tension because I want these things for him. And so I have tried every different combination of approaches to try and get him to see. But he doesn't want to. He wants to live his own life. He wants to figure it out on his own, which I need to respect that. But I'm afraid. And so, because of this fear, I go into survival mode and try even harder to produce the result that I want. And as a result of me trying to produce a certain outcome, I have to adjust myself slowly to and try different combinations to try and get him to see the world the way that I want him to see. And this is, I believe, what a parent does with their children. He's my first kid, so I have no idea. But this is just my experience with it, that I want nothing more. I desire for him to be useful to the world and also himself. Okay? So this is a pain for me because I'm not producing the result that I want. And so what has happened is the idea of a parent that I want to be is different from the parent that I'm actually am. So there's a disconnection with myself in that respect. If you feel like this has happened with you and you have a disconnection, there's a link in the description below. You can take a free audit of your relationships with your life. Just hit the link below. It's called the Rebuild Kit. It's just an assessment so that you can see if you are actually disconnected from who you want to be and who you actually are. All right. So I am showing up in his life in various different ways. My approach is changing, but the result that I see that I want to produce is staying the same. So with my son, because I'm trying to produce a result, the effort that I'm putting in is changing. And the effort is usually who I am as a person, my character, my drive, my integrity, how I want to show up in the world, and how I want to influence or give back to the world for everything that I've taken. But I don't even think about the effort that I'm putting in. I only think about the outcome that I want to produce in him. And so as a result, I slowly give pieces of myself. Who I want to choose, who I choose to be, I'm giving pieces away in order to produce an outcome. And because of this, the way I actually am is completely different as far as that relationship with as a parent goes. It's completely different than the vision I see. And it's because I am focusing on the results, not the effort. I didn't just wake up one day as a different person. I woke up one day and realized that I was already lost, that I was somebody else who I didn't want to be. And this isn't something that is just produced out of nowhere. No, like I said, it's giving pieces away to produce an outcome, a safety for others, trying to figure out what the best way for their lives is. But I want to bring a new perspective on this, because I can spin my wheels all day trying to figure out how to shape the world how I think it would, or a specific person. This could be a relationship, like this has happened in other intimate relationships with me. This has happened in different goals that I've set, that I've had to change who I am to be able to reach those goals, achieve them. And so the idea that the outcome has to be very rigid and produced in a certain way is what drives us to change who we are to achieve it, rather than be who we are and allow the outcome how it needs to come, whatever way that it falls into place as a result of us being who we are. So the new perspective is efforts, not results. If we show up and put in the effort, regardless of what the outcome is, regardless of what the end goal is, the world will be better for it. And we'll be true to ourselves. We'll be true to who we want to be. Not what that end goal calls for, but who we want to be. And who we want to be, and our character, our integrity, our moral philosophy, our relationship to our higher power, our relationship with ourselves is defined by how we show up in the world. In my experience, it's just an opinion. Because we have to live with those actions. And if I define how I show up in the world by the results that I'm able to produce, or the results that I'm trying to produce, then I'll look at myself less than I actually am, or higher than I actually am. There'll be delusion around my identity because it's surrounded around external circumstance, rather than me being okay with how I am or how I'm showing up. If this hits home with you, hit the link, get that audit. There's also some practices that you can do in there to start to merge this disconnection that you have with yourself. There's a huge misconception with when we start to show up differently, because we're no longer trying to get the world to be the way that we think it needs to be. When we start doing that, there's a misconception that people are going to start walking away from us, and we're not going to be able to show up for them. We're not going to be able to give our children or those relationships what they need to survive, to live, to be happy. But let's rephrase that, because that is a detrimental perspective that keeps us stuck with who we are currently and who we actually are inside. So there's a disconnection between us, what we present to the world, and who we really are, because we want to help people so much that we will give ourselves up to do that. And the world, what ends up happening is we swing from left to right. And we show up differently depending on the situation, depending on the result, and depending on what we think the other person needs, whether we're a caretaker or not. And so we are not consistent. We are not. And when we start to heal and we start to merge the outside us and the inside us, when we start to become that authentic self, then we become consistent. And we begin to teach everybody around us who we really are, and they will adjust. And although that does take a long time, it takes sometimes weeks, months, even a couple years for them to realize who the new version of us are, who we really are. Because we are finally finding a way to continue to put in the same effort regardless of the result that it puts in, regardless of what it produces. And so people start to realize that. And it frees us from the burden of taking responsibility of everyone else. Let me say that one more time. It frees us from the burden of trying to be accountable for other people. And when we can do that, when we can free ourselves from that, then we can really start to give them what they actually need. And they need you, who you really are. That's what they need. And that's what you need. You need to be able to be yourself and really give back to the world in the way that you were meant to. The way that we show up without producing that result is who we really are. And it is a challenge to find that person. Once again, link in the description. It's a rebuild starter kit. But like I said, efforts, not results. It's your choice. It's your choice. Do you want to continue to be an empty shell of yourself? Do you want to continue to figure out different ways to present to the world? Or do you want to be free of all that so you can connect with yourself? So today, right? So today, if you want a glimpse at how far disconnected that you are, just spend a little bit of time thinking about the relationships that you have with people. Start thinking about the relationships that you have with your coworkers, your family, your children, your parents. And then also think about the relationship you have with yourself. Start thinking, is this who I want to be? Is this the vision I had for my life? Or have I been stuck in survival mode, trying to take care of everybody else, trying to achieve a certain goal, trying to produce a result? And has those projected outcomes and those goals I set for myself, have they changed the person who I am, not for the benefit of me, not for the benefit of the world, but for the benefit of the perceived goal? Because if that's the case, then you're not who you're supposed to be. And that's why you have looked back at your life and realized, I'm just like an empty shell running on autopilot. I'm an empty shell watching my life being lived, trying to go from task to task to task. And if that is you, then watch this next video about how we do get stuck as a third person watching our bodies and our minds be disconnected, running on autopilot. I love y'all. Peace.